All right. So
we're gonna call the public.
Oh, thank you. We're gonna call the public hearing, and open the floodplain ordinance public hearing now at 5 p.m. And we would welcome, there's copies of the floodplain ordinance right here, and we'd welcome any comments from the public.
So those of you who don't know me, I'm Kristen Durocher, and I'm on the Floodplain Board of Adjustments. I'm in my 3-year term next month on the ballot. Please vote for me. So are we gonna talk about flood zone or floodplain? I'm sorry.
Floodplain.
Floodplain.
Now, why we have to do.
Okay, so there's a difference between flood zone and flood map and floodplain, right? We can start with that. So the way that this works is a long time ago, the United States government around the 70s, by the Clean Water Act, realized that certain homes were subject to flooding and people needed assistance. So they set up something called the flood insurance rate maps. What they do is they go out and they survey the land and the waterways and determine the 1% chance of water reaching an elevation of 1 foot in all these different areas. So that's what's a flood zone. In order for us to get flood insurance, you can buy it privately, it's very expensive, or you buy it through the government, which is a lot cheaper. Our town has been involved in the flood insurance rate program for a long time. If we continue to do so by adopting the maps, then we can get reduced rates. It's that simple. If we don't, then anyone who has flood insurance or who thinks they might want to buy it, because remember, it's not just the river coming in like it does in my house. It's it's a big rainstorm, and it doesn't cover your basement, but if like something happens and you get water in your house, anything that's not related to like a regular storm is not covered under your homeowner's insurance, like tornado coverage, for instance, people fire. So it's cheap to have if you're not in a flood zone. Personally, first time I bought it, I looked back, it was $190 or something for the year, which is not very much money. And so what they've done is they've adjusted the rate maps only by getting better data. So they went out like, Courtney Road there.
Well, I wasn't, but Marty, Calvin, everybody on that side of the road, we're in the floodplain.
They're in the floodplain, and you look down and the river's like 30 feet below.
At least.
So they did it distance from, because they didn't have elevations, and that's called a zone A. So what they've done is they've gone out using LiDAR data, drones, and whatever. They've actually gotten good elevational data, and they remap things. So it's more accurate now. Marty is no longer in a flood zone, and so if we don't adopt these, then it's a problem. So it's not like there's no cost to the town. It doesn't affect your taxes. It doesn't affect your homeowner's insurance. It doesn't affect your home value. It's a statement of fact. The government has put this out, right? Whether I go to sell my house and I adopt these maps or not, it's still in zone 8, which means I need flood insurance. So,
but it makes us eligible, the people in town eligible to buy it. And if we don't adopt them, we won't. They can't buy it.
You can buy it through a private insurer.
For a private insurance.
And you go to the national one.
Like 2.5 times the cost.
Right.
And flood insurance, if you live in a flood zone, is not cheap. I'm currently, those of you who know where I live, never in a flood zone, which cracks me up. So I will be with the new maps, and I'm right now trying to get an estimate for my insurance, because I always carry flood insurance because I look to the river and I'm like, yeah, just in case. So it'll go up substantially, but the price
They're taking a hit for the rest of us.
hey, I pay my fair share. So anyway, so they'll be on the ballot to approve those. If anyone has questions, and I want to put this out in general in the minutes, they can contact me. I am happy to show them their home if they're in a flood zone, if they were in a flood zone, what the flood zone is or was. Your mortgage company, if they own your home, should be contacting you if you go into a flood zone. It's a law. However, they do not have to contact you if you get mapped out. So
those that have been mapped out, they
Are
will
the
pay
new
attention.
maps available online now?
the
Or?
new maps are available online as preliminary maps. I have a link to them,
Okay.
and they will be adopted on Friday.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Then it'll change all the new maps.
Yeah, so February 8th, the old maps go away into the archive thing on MSC, and the new maps come up with just the layer of the new flood zones.
Which then trickles over to our ordinance, because we
Right.
have to have our ordinance has to be amended to reflect the date of the
new
maps.
date.
Right,
Right.
okay.
So that's where the floodplain, that's the only changes being made, correct?
Yes, that's it.
Great. Thank you very much, Kristen. We
And
appreciate
we
that.
did everything we had to do to meet the February 8th deadline, right? We met it.
Yes,
Okay.
we filed everything.
Good.
Great. Any other questions regarding that? Being none, then we can close the floodplain ordinance public hearing, and we will open the warrant public hearing. Again, folks, anybody that's interested in a copy of the warrant, it's up here on the table, as will be the MS 737 budget is up here as well. Pretty standard warrant this year. Reflecting our budget, capital reserves, the floodplain ordinance. And then we received on Monday, a petition article for, which is Article 24, for the discontinuance of all electronic voting devices by the town of Woodstock. This was voted upon last night by the selectmen as a do not recommend this article. But you will find on the rest of the warrant that the selectmen do recommend the appropriations. We're well, we open the floor to any public comments. Give you all a minute to.
We would all like your support there to vote down the, getting rid of the ballot machines, counting machines, and going to all hand ballots.
I was really hoping there would be a representative,
Spread the word.
Yeah,
or the
There's-
people that submitted the petition
It's a
to
really
speak on
silly
that.
thing that they think we're, whatever.
Can you repeat that? I missed what
So-
happened.
They're trying, the warrant article that got put on the, by petition, that, they want us to just do hand ballots and
Go back
not
to
use
the
the
old
machine
way.
to count it.
To do away with all electronic.
Not the old way,
ballots, not
like the
just
old way 20 years ago.
right.
They want us to go back to the old way 20 years ago.
after an election.
No,
What I will say is, let me, can I speak?
Yes,
they
May I,
think, but
as a-
they think the Russians are going into the machine or something. Come on.
So,
It's a Dominion machine, so.
all right.
it's an
Please-
LHS machine.
Right, please let Judy speak.
So I received this petition, which is Article 24. And what I can tell you is that never was not, and not just the people that, the 35 people that submitted it, but there's never been any member of the public that has attended any of our ballot testing things that are publicized. They have never come back at the end of an election to watch our counting process. They have never come to us and asked our procedures or asked us to follow through. They have never come or approached the Secretary of State for a recount to prove that our machines were not accurate or counting correctly. So I feel like there's a lot of homework that hasn't been done. And then another point I'll make is that a couple years ago, there was a state representative race. It was a very tight race. One of the candidates called for a recount. And so they collected all of our ballots from the municipalities that representative represented district. And there was a 3 ballot error. It came out of Easton, and Easton was a hand count town. And I'm gonna close my case there.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's.
I got a lot more too. but
Are
I
you
think
passionate
that
about
was-
this, Jim?
Huh?
Are you passionate about this?
Well, and
I live it, so I know it.
Come,
And then
you
I
gotta
have,
look at the town's significant investment that we've made in this technology as well,
right.
over the last couple of years,
And-
few years.
And, you know, I'm not saying that the machines can't make errors. Humans make errors, machines can make errors, but if the elected official is doing their job and the elected official has been properly trained, the state of New Hampshire takes great pride in their elections. And they are, not strict is not the word I'm looking for, but you know,
Diligent.
yeah, and they have many processes in place. So if you're doing your job and you're properly trained and you're doing the balancing and you understand the forms that are given to you, there's no way that you're not gonna pick up on an error from a machine. But they're,
Yeah,
you know, but without asking these questions,
they don't know
you,
that.
you don't know that.
They just assume that the
They-
machine, we're trusting the machine.
And what I also will say is that all the ports and plugs and everything, the only way voting machines could come into the state of New Hampshire, that we're using is if all the plugs and ports were pulled and covered and sealed, and they actually have these red seals that go over them that we can't.
Oh, so they can't have devices
They
in
can't
them that
plug in.
can give Russia information.
Right, and they pull out the membrane that connects it to the internet. It doesn't have the capability to do it. It only has the capability to read the card that's in the machine.
Right,
These
So,
machines are not connected to the internet.
no, it doesn't have any,
internet access.
right.
You've made your point.
So I'll be asking the budget committee to stand by me and not recommend that article when we get there next. From the audience, that is.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Judy.
you. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments regarding the warrant?
On the floodplain ordinance, it doesn't say that we're adding a date.
We have
it
to bring back the same one that was brought last year. We're bringing, so that was to do the same thing. Our lawyer is asking us to do this. So
Oh,
we really
perfect.
did this last year, but the selectmen didn't have the resolution, adopt the resolution to be in place.
Okay,
So now the resolution's in place. She's asking us to bring it back again, and we'll put it on the ballot now that we have the resolution and that numbers to go with the ordinance.
okay.
So we're voting on the same exact thing.
Yeah.
That we did last year, correct?
Are we doing
And-
the dates then or not?
Yeah.
Yes, with the corrected dates, but the wording is just the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's to do with that same
It
date
was the-
change that you made.
It was the process that was followed to adopt it that they found fault with, not the language or the.
No, well,
It was.
yes and no, because
Combination.
we didn't have the map numbers in the resolution for them to do the resolutions. So we did what we had to do to meet
Right,
the criteria
right,
to qualify.
right,
And now as an added security, we're bringing it back
okay.
on the ballot.
So,
I think I'm explaining that right.
so you had said that you had to add the date to the ordinance.
They had already done it because they
Yeah.
knew the date. But the selectmen hadn't adopted a resolution because we didn't know the map numbers and all of that. Now the selectmen have adopted
Okay.
that resolution whenever they got it. When was that?
So
So
that
now
change
we're
was
just-
already in place, what you're saying.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
so we're just doing, it's a formality thing, really.
I know, I just don't want people asking the question.
That's, the way I understand it, sorry, is it's a formality.
This is one
I
of the
know.
electronic vote counting machines.
Right.
AI.
So the ordinance
Need
that we're
AI, don't
voting on
vote it.
is
Oh my God,
the changes
how
we
can I
made
help
last
you at
year
work?
and
Come on.
the new date.
Yeah.
Yes.
Changes we made plus the new date.
Right, because didn't you, well, you put the new date in there,
Yes,
didn't
yes,
you?
yes, we
Last
did.
year?
Yeah.
Or this year?
This year,
This year.
because we didn't know the new dates last year.
Maybe we could update the selectmen's report in that section that I say the articles for this coming year. That we could just explain this a little bit further with the details like that these guys are questioning, so that then it might be a little more clear for those
Right.
that come
Let's make
that night.
sure we.
Well,
Just to make sure
I
that when
have
you voted,
sent
it's
it-
got all of the changes incorporated and we don't have to vote it again.
Right, yeah,
Let's
and I
go
have
through
sent it,
Let's go
to
through it.
the lawyer and DRA.
I'm sure, and the date, let's look through it so that when we answer questions at town meeting, we know
And
exactly
we should have
the
those,
answers to the question.
you should have your ordinance probably out there, you know,
Yes.
packets
Yeah.
ready for.
And we're meeting next Monday anyway, we'll put that on the list,
Because
because to really look over and make sure it's right.
when you presented your ordinance last year, it was in anticipation of the date change for the map.
Yes.
But you had to have it done before they knew the date change, so that allowed them, that vote allowed them that when the date came, when they received the date, they could add it to their ordinance.
Gotcha.
Was what you were voting on last year, right?
Yes, well, let us really double check, the differences between last year and this year and be able to, explain it.
That's all I'm
But
presenting.
I know we went over it with a
I'm not
fine tooth comb, and I know we did it right to make the deadline.
That's all we've been trying to do is just make the deadline and have the official.
But let us be able to speak,
Formality,
some,
I guess, is
one of
that
us
what
be
it
able to
is?
speak
Check the box,
absolutely with.
Right,
And it just,
okay.
because it didn't say
Surety.
specifically in the
This
warrant,
one's good.
we're changing the
At
date.
the, at the meeting.
No,
Thank you.
Bonnie's report does, and I believe the selectmen does.
Yeah.
They referenced that they're just bringing it back because
Right.
it's a.
Yeah.
Didn't you? I think
And I'll
your
tighten,
report- yeah.
I'll tighten the
Yes.
language up on ours for that as well.
So hopefully.
It's not a lack of trust,
I know, no, I
Yeah.
don't blame you, no.
It's my flood insurance.
Thank you for making us realize how important it is to
You know,
make
and
a good
anytime,
presentation at the
which I
town
didn't even
meeting.
think about, that you wanted to add like a report, like a floodplain report, you guys could.
To the town thing.
To the town,
Mhm.
oh, today's thing. I mean, if you, I could probably buy you for Friday. But that's it, I didn't think about it, I'm sorry. But it might be a nice annual thing to put in there.
Yeah.
Cause you're a wealth of knowledge that we just don't have.
You are doing, you
are. And you're good at like presenting it. I'm very passionate about a lot of things.
I will write something about the new maps and I will assume that they are adopted.
Yeah.
I will, give that to you guys.
And you know,
And I'll tell them I have a.
the planning board is entitled to have a conservation commission representative on our board and attending our meetings and everything. If you wanna add another meeting night on your schedule, your wealth of knowledge would be welcomed at our board.
It might work.
How
We have
often
the-
do you meet?
Well, we have the
Yeah.
floodplain and,
Once a
that might
month.
be
The second,
floodplain and,
the second Monday of the month is 5.
because they regulate the floodplain.
That would be the
ordinance.
commitment a representative would make, try, it doesn't have to have 100% attendance, but try and make the second Monday. That's fine.
You guys have,
Any
you guys
other-
motion to sign after the,
We needed to re-adopt this.
I think you should.
Okay, so I make a
Because-
motion to, adopt the 2024 warrant and sign it. Do you have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay.
That's perfect, thank you.
Oh, these feel thicker than that.
You should get 2 and 2. 2 duplex, 2 single sided.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. No, that's why I just said one feels thicker, a couple of them feel thicker than the others.
Because if I have to send, sometimes like if I'm doing
Yeah.
things.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. So being no more questions on that, we will close the warrant public hearing and now we will. That's it.
Right, and you can pause if you want to just pause and stop recording. Don't stop because they're going to continue on from you.
Right. So
Slow.
We bring the public hearing for the budget to order at 5:30. First up, we need to approve last week's minutes. Does anyone have any changes? Do I have a motion to accept? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next up is to approve the final MS 737. We went over it line by line last week. So all we have to do is vote on the total amount. Which is $6,026,982. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to accept? Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now we'll open it up to public comment.
Can I ask about Article 24?
Yes.
Yes, Article 24 has been submitted by petition, and we need to vote whether we will recommend it or not. Is there any discussion?
It's to do, we received a petition warrant article, Helen, to do away with all electronic devices at the town hall.
Voting machines.
Voting machines,
devices.
poll pads, all of it. All electronic devices. So.
I
the
said it
select-
for you
The
earlier.
selectmen have voted to not support and recommend that article, so I'm looking for the support, for the same vote from the budget committee, if they so choose.
So we'll have a vote whether we
Choose to support
choose
it or not.
to recommend Article 24.
No.
All those.
Or not.
Or not. All those in favor of supporting it, say aye. All those against it, say aye. The budget committee will not support Article 24.
Thank you.
Any other business brought to us by the public?
I would just say thank you all for your work this budget season on the budget and going through it and giving us your Wednesday nights for the last 2.5 months. Appreciate it.
No, we have to keep it open for 15 minutes. No, we don't.
If there's no public
Is
comment.
there any other thing to come before the budget committee this year? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Another good year.
Thank you all.
Motion to adjourn.